I will share my screen. I'll share my camera. And I'll share my screen because I have a team. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, it's okay. Okay, it's great. No, okay. So if you want, I will start now. Okay. It's okay. Can I start?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming, for attending this session, this online session. And thank you for Collabdays Greece for this opportunity to speak and to present my topic. Today, I will talk how to transform your cloud storage with the SharePoint Embedded. It's something new with Microsoft since 2 years, and I will show you how it's possible. And thanks for the Collabdays, for the organizer, for the moderator, for the online session, and for you also for attending this session online Saturday. And let's start about me. My name is Jamel ABED. I'm freelance senior developer advocate. I have many flags here because I work in France, I live in Belgium, and I was born in Tunisia, and also I live in Dubai. And I'm a Microsoft MVP on Microsoft 365 development and SharePoint. And I have been working on SharePoint since the year 2007. And if you want to connect with me, you have my LinkedIn, and feel free to ask if you have any question. Feel free to ask about this topic, or if you have another topic. And sorry, just I need to end this one. Sorry for it. Sorry. Just I will add. Okay, I'll add the pointer like this. And that, when you check the community website on Community Days, I'm actually the #1 speaker. I'm trying to speak every week worldwide. And I add all my travel. I track all my travel since the last year. So I present many sessions worldwide, and they ask me where you are traveling and everywhere. And I said yes, I will include it in my presentation. And this all my flights since the last years. And this is my event also. I like to share my last event picture also. This event, it was in Bangalore in India 2 weeks ago. And this event, it was in Tunisia also 3 weeks, 10 days ago. It was, I organized this event. And this one also in Tunisia with the speaker. And this event also in South Korea. It's at Microsoft Office. It's not generated by AI, this picture. It's a real one. It's at Microsoft Office in South Korea. And this one in USA. So. And let's start with the agenda of today. Today, what I will talk about, if you talk about a new solution and there is a need with your company, so I will share with you a real use case with one customer in France. What are the problems we are facing, and how it's possible with SharePoint Embedded to solve this solution, our problem. And also I will talk what is it SharePoint Embedded, and then I will talk about the architecture. And if you are a Power Platform citizen developer or a Power Platform developer, I will show you how to integrate with the Power Platform, because nowadays when you want to share file or to store file in your Power Apps application, usually we create a SharePoint site and you create SharePoint document library and you store inside. I will show you how it's possible with the SharePoint Embedded Container. And if you are a SharePoint admin, I will show you how to administrate the container, SharePoint Embedded Container and everything. And it's Microsoft product. There is a cost. I will share with you what are the costs. And if you are a developer, I will share with you all the tips, all the tools needed to develop with it. And I will show you and demo how it's works. And after this session, I will share with you the slides, so feel free to use it and to check it after my presentation. And if you have any question at any time, let me know. Okay, let's start by the company challenge, manage application and storage. And before talking about the problem, I want to show you nowadays, if you want to use or to store file inside your Microsoft 365 tenant, we have a different way. So So the first option, you create SharePoint site, you create SharePoint document library, and you store inside this SharePoint document library your file, and you can use it. When the user has access to the site, can access to this document library, and also we can share the file, store the file in OneDrive for each user inside your organization has a personal OneDrive, and you can share this file with other user. And now we have a different option. We can store those files in SharePoint Embedded container, and I will show you what is it SharePoint Embedded, what is it a container. And I want to share with you, because I have many customers, they ignore how much cost the data for SharePoint site. And this is why I want to show you how the data is allocated for your SharePoint site for each tenant. For each tenant, we have free storage, 1 terabyte for your files for SharePoint site. And for each licensed user, you will have 10 gigabyte per user. And why I'm sharing this? Because I notice it with many customers. They say to me, yes, we are storing our file in SharePoint site because we are paying license every month. So the cost is free. So the cost is not free. So it's calculated in this way. And if you exceed this limitation, you will pay extra. So imagine you have you're working with a company, we have 200 users, and those users have a license under E3. They have a E3 license, and you will have 3 terabytes for free storage, 1 terabyte from the tenant, and 2 terabytes from the user. And it's very important, you will pay additional charge 20 cents per month for each gigabyte. It's very important to know there is a cost when you exceed this limitation for your tenant. And here it's a real use case with one customer. We are working with only one tenant for 300,000 users, and we are sharing only one tenant. And every month we are developing many applications with Power Apps, with the React, with many other tools. And we are storing the file every month, every day on SharePoint site. And every month we need to know how much it costs per application. So in SharePoint site we can see how much gigabyte we have, how much storage, but we don't have the metric how much it costs per application for each business unit. And it's very difficult to know when you want to sell the project for many business units, and you need to estimate the cost for the run of the application. It's very hard when you use only one tenant and you are sharing many files in different SharePoint sites. And also we have many business units, they are afraid about AI. They want to keep their file isolated, and they need to use their file in different way. And this why in this we are searching a solution. It's work like SharePoint site, and also this solution ensure a clear allocation for the cost and for data and for AI, and the files stay inside your Microsoft 365 tenant. We are not storing file with other solution. And this is why I will talk today about SharePoint Embedded, how SharePoint Embedded can resolve those issues when you work with file with your organization. So what is it, SharePoint Embedded? SharePoint Embedded, it's announced by Microsoft in November 2023. It was in public preview, and in May 2024, in general availability. So when you talk about SharePoint Embedded, we talk about file. So we don't have structure like SharePoint list or something else. So it's only solution work with files. So it's like SharePoint document library. We have SharePoint document library. You store only files, and in different way, SharePoint Embedded, it allow your application to create a dedicated partition inside your Microsoft 365 tenant. This partition, it's called container. If you want to compare container to SharePoint document library, it's the same. But SharePoint document library, you need to create SharePoint site. But the container, it's directly attached to your SharePoint, to your Microsoft 365 tenant. And all the container stay inside your Microsoft 365 tenant. And unlike SharePoint, we don't have UI to access to those containers. to access to those containers, you need Graph API. So the only way is to use Graph API. So when I said Graph API, to access to your container. So your application, it's an Azure application. So we can associate this application with a custom application developed in React or something else, or we can use Power Apps and with Power Automate to store your file inside those containers. And when you talk about SharePoint Embedded, also we have the container type for each container. The parent for each container, it's called container type. So it's like a SharePoint document library. It's inside SharePoint site. The same thing for the SharePoint Embedded container. For each container, there is a container type linked to it. Container type, it's like a collection of content. And we stay inside your Microsoft 365 tenant with Microsoft Cloud and everything. And we have all the security feature, like when you work in OneDrive or SharePoint document library. That means, for example, if you in your organization work with Purview, you have Purview or we have sensitive label. So all those security, all the compliance for your organization are available also for the content stored in SharePoint embedded content. And the same thing, we have many features like versioning, like when you work in Office document, for each file you will have a different version. It's like when you work in the SharePoint site and OneDrive. And also we can share the file with many other users. And it's very important for the container and the content stored inside those container. You pay for the content in different way. You pay as you go. So unlike SharePoint site, you will pay for the license every month and you will pay for the storage when you exceed it. But for SharePoint Embedded, you will pay as you go. And I will show you how it's cost. Here I will show you a screenshot from my SharePoint admin. As you can see on the left, if you are a SharePoint admin, you can usually will manage your site from this navigation, from this UI. And as you can see on the left, we have active containers. So active container, they are SharePoint embedded container. And here in my tenant, I have many containers. For example, this one, AI Boston 3, it's a container associated to this application. And also there are applications developed by Microsoft, like Designer, use also SharePoint embedded as main storage. As you can see, the publisher, it's Microsoft. And for each container, we can apply also sensitive label. So sensitive label can apply it for the container, and also you can apply it for the file stored inside them. And for each container, we have many attributes. And here it's very important because here we have the name. Here there is no sensitive label for this container. And we have the storage, and we have the container URL. So for each container, we have a link to it. And for example, if you want to work with Copilot Studio or you want to develop your agent and you need to specify a container as a knowledge for this agent with Copilot Studio or with other tools, you can use this link as a knowledge for your agent. So this it's very important when you work with Copilot Studio and agent. And also for each container, you can apply many permissions. We have owner, manager, writer, and reader. And here I want to show you in different layer how everything is situated. So we are running on Microsoft. When you have your Microsoft 365 tenant, the infrastructure, it's Microsoft Cloud. So the first layer, it's Microsoft Cloud. And off the top of it, we have the Power Platform as a service. In this layer, we have the Microsoft 365 security and compliance by default by Microsoft applied for your tenant or your custom security and compliance. And off the top of it, we have the content stored inside SharePoint embedded content. That means all the security features for your organization are available for your files. So in terms of security, you stay inside your Microsoft 365 tenant. And off the top of it, we have the experience. The experience is split into two parts. On the left, we have the custom application. The application you develop it inside your organization, and the application you purchase it from ISV or other organization. Why it's split into two parts? Because for this for the custom application, you will pay for the content as you go. But on the right, we have the Microsoft 365 application, like Loop. Loop use when you use Loop in your organization, Loop store the workspace in SharePoint Embedded Container and also Designer. And only for the Microsoft 365 application, those applications will consume your free storage. So for the custom application, you will pay as you go. And for the Microsoft application, will consume your free storage. In the first slide, I talked about for each tenant, we have 1 terabyte for free. So it will consume the storage from this limit, the storage allowed. And also we have Edge Workspace. So if you don't know Edge Workspace, what is it, Edge Workspace? When you are logging with your browser with Edge, we have the option here on the left to create a workspace. And what happened behind the scene, when you create a workspace, it will create the workspace and it's stored inside SharePoint Embedded Container inside your tenant. So Microsoft Edge Workspace, it's Microsoft application. It allows you to create create a workspace. You can share it with many users. For example, if you work in different projects, we can share all the link for this project with many users. So it's very useful. For example, for me, here I have an example from my Edge workspace. So for example, to learn, I have many links. So I shared with I stored seven links, and it's synchronized with many other when you are logged from other computers. So it's synchronized. And here I will show you, before you know about the SharePoint Embedded Container, if you want to store a file inside your Microsoft 365 tenant, you have the option to store inside SharePoint site or OneDrive. And now we have the option with SharePoint Embedded. So we have another option like Azure Storage or Blob Storage. But here I will talk about SharePoint and OneDrive and SharePoint Embedded Container. And to access to the file stored in your SharePoint site or OneDrive, we can use the UI. So you can open the file online, and also with Microsoft Office application. So you can access directly to your file inside stored inside SharePoint site. But for the SharePoint Embedded Container, we need Graph API to access to those files. So Graph API, it's used to query all the content for your inside the same Microsoft 365 tenant. And we need your SharePoint Embedded application. So SharePoint application use Graph API to manage all the files stored inside container or to create content. When I say SharePoint Embedded application, it's Azure application. For example, if you want to work with the Power Apps, so we can use Power Apps and Power Automate to store the file inside the SharePoint Embedded container. So I don't know if you have any question. Let's see. Okay. So, okay. Okay, let's go, because I have only one screen. Okay, I'll go to my presentation. And now I'll talk about architecture of SharePoint Embedded. When you talk about SharePoint Embedded, we have the application, we have the container type, the storage, and the file. So what is it, SharePoint Embedded application? It's an Azure application, and you can create a single tenant application or multi-tenant application. So, and the Microsoft has introduced a new permission. It's called file storage container, file storage container dot selected, and this permission, it's allow your application to man Graph API. It's add permission to your Graph API to man for your application, and you can add it from Azure. Here, as you can see, we have the API permission for your application. Here you can select file storage container dot selected. It's added by with SharePoint Embedded, and the container. And also, when you talk about SharePoint Embedded, we talk about container. So a container, it's a partition inside your Microsoft 365 tenant, and the ID of a container, it's all this string. So as you can see, Here, it's a sample from one container. And for each application, you can create multiple container. So we can create up to 100,000 container per tenant. For example, if you use, for example, Loop, it's when you want to develop an application like Loop. So Loop, it's developed by Microsoft and it's used by many consumer tenants. So for each consumer tenant, if you have an application like Loop, you can create up to 100,000 containers for each consumer tenant. And all the containers are linked to the container type. And to access to all the container, we use Graph API, can use Graph API. And it's fully integrated with your Microsoft 365 experience. That means it's the same way when you work with the file stored inside SharePoint site, you can, for example, open the file from browser and from Office application, and we have many collaboration features like sharing, like versioning, and everything. And for the content, we can store up to 25 terabytes for each container. So it's just okay. Here, for each container, we can store up to 25 terabytes. Imagine we have an application. Imagine you have SharePoint embedded application, single tenant application. You can use it in your organization, and you can create up to 100,000, and you can store 25 terabytes for each container. And anyway, you will pay as you go for the content for the SharePoint embedded. And container type, it's the ID it's associated to your application. It's the ID, it's simple ID, and it's created in the developer tenant, and it's used by the registered with the consumer tenant. And container type, it's a collection for your content. And the file all the files are supported by SharePoint Embedded. You can store all the file inside the SharePoint Embedded content. And for each file, when you store each file, for example, here I have a Graph API call. As you can see, graph.microsoft container ID. I specify the container ID. And what this query does, it's add the file to this container, and the result, we have many attributes here, and for each file added to each container, we have an ID for this file. And it's really useful when you work with Power Apps and you need to Power Automate. You need to query all your files inside the container. And if you want to use it with Power Platform, I will show you how to do it. So when you want to use, for example, I shared in the second slide with what my major customer working with SharePoint site. They develop many applications and they are storing files in SharePoint site. But here, if you want to keep developing your application in Power Apps and use Power Automate, I will show you how to store your file in different way. So to store your file in SharePoint Embedded container, what do you need? You need Microsoft Graph API, you need Power Automate for the query, and you need Power Apps for the query. So, for example, here I want to upload a file inside SharePoint Embedded container with Power Automate. Here we can use HTTP connector, and as you can see here, the link, use graph.microsoft.com. You need to specify the container ID, the folder ID. The same thing in the container, you can create folder like SharePoint document library. And here you specify the file name, and here we have the body for your file. But we need to add more attribute. And here in this action, you click Show Advanced Option. And when you click Show Advanced Option, you need to specify all those attributes. Authority, it's login.microsoft.com, your tenant ID, here your tenant, and also the audience. The audience is graph.microsoft.com, and the client ID, your application ID associated to SharePoint Embedded. So you create your application, Azure application, you have an ID and the secret to this application. In this way, we can upload a file with Power Automate, and you can call this file from your Power Apps application. The same thing if you want to use Power Automate to create a container, you can use this query graph.microsoft container, and you need to specify the container name, description, and container type ID. And the same thing if you want to add a permission. So here the question, where to find all the Graph API call to manage all your SharePoint embedded content. So the answer with this link, ik.ms, SPA Postman, you will find all the query used by all your Graph API call used for SharePoint embedded. And we can import this collection to your Postman or other tools to test your query before integrated with your Power Automate or your application. And also, if you want to start with the solution, it's already developed by Steve from Microsoft. So you can find this solution. It's SharePoint Embedded Starter Kit. It's a Power Platform solution. It includes 1 Power Apps and 23 Power Automate. So once you install it or you use it inside your Microsoft, your Power Platform environment, we can find many flow. As you can see here in this application, we have already 23 flow. So we can check how it's work. For example, to activate a container, to create a column, create a container folder. So you can check. So the link here, I will share the slide with you, and you can check it. And also here the UI for the Power Apps. So it's a starter kit, so you can manage, we can check how it's work, and you can also develop your use it for your Power Apps solution. And you don't need anymore to store file in SharePoint site. So you have many options. If you want to keep your file and store your file in different way for many projects, and to know how much it costs every month, it's the best solution to work in SharePoint embedded container. And each month you pay as you go for the content. And also Microsoft has announced a Power Platform connector for SharePoint embedded. It's in private preview, but if you want to work on it, so you can scan this QR code and you can apply, and Microsoft check, and you can test it in your environment. You can test the container. So in the Power Automate, I showed you how to use Graph API, but here we can use the connector. You can it's like SharePoint connector. You can use it for your SharePoint embedded content. And to administrate SharePoint, we have different ways. You can use PowerShell, you can use SharePoint Admin Center, you can use Microsoft Purview and Microsoft Graph API. So when I said you can use Microsoft Purview, there is no link directly inside the Purview to manage SharePoint embedded content. We need to use the link like under SharePoint site. When you work on Purview, we have SharePoint site, and we can specify the link to SharePoint site, also to specify the link to a container. And if you are a SharePoint admin, so Microsoft has introduced new SharePoint Embedded Administrator. So let's call it SharePoint Embedded Administrator. So if you want to apply this role to one admin only to manage the container and don't to manage the SharePoint site and everything. Here, for example, I have access to the SharePoint Admin Center with the global administrator. As you can see here, this admin has the right to manage everything in the SharePoint admin, manage site and container. But for this user, this user has only access to has only the permission SharePoint Embedded Administrator. As you can see here, this user can access only to the container. This user is not allowed to manage the site. Your organization, if you want to split the role, it's the best way to apply only one admin for your SharePoint Embedded container. And for the cost for it, there are two types of SharePoint Embedded. We can use a standard container type. You pay as you go, and it's very important for many Microsoft for your tenant. We have the trial version. We can create a free version for your SharePoint embedded. So you can create one container type And for this container type, you can specify many up to 5 containers, and it's limited. We can store up to 1 GB for each container, and it's valid for 30 days. When I said it's valid for 30 days, so for 30 days we can create your container, but after 30 days we cannot create any new container, but you can still use the content inside the container already created. And for the cost, you pay as you go. You pay per gigabyte per day, and you will pay per API call. For each call you call from your SharePoint Embedded application, you will pay. And here the question said, yes, it's better to stay in SharePoint side because you are paying only license every month, and we are not paying for the Graph API call. Here I will share you a use case with my customer. I have one customer in France. We are developing many applications to store file to maintain the nuclear plant. To maintain nuclear plant, we need to store files for all the project, and we need to keep those files for 20-30 years. And here the question: if the user will access only 2 times per month during the 20 years, why applying license every month in SharePoint site and just to access to the file 2 times per month? So yeah, the question, the idea, the solution is to find something you pay as you go. In this case, when you use SharePoint Embedded, your files stay inside your tenant and with your compliance, custom compliance and purview and sensitive label and everything, and you pay only for the content. It costs less expensive than paying license every month. In other case, if you develop a project, user need to access the file every day. So it's better in this way. It's better to use SharePoint document library. It costs less expensive than SharePoint Embedded content. And if you want, in other case, for example, if you want to store many files, and you don't need sensitive label, security layer like sensitive label, purview, and everything, it's better to work in blob storage, to store your file in Azure Blob Storage. It costs less expensive than SharePoint site and than SharePoint Embedded content. So when you are a developer, it's better to know how much it costs for the application when you build it, and also you need to advise your customer how much it costs when you run this application in terms of data or file when you run this application. It could be for 1 year, it could be for 20 years. And when you calculate the cost for per month, it's priced 20 cents. It's like when you exceed the limitation for SharePoint site. And we have many permissions for your SharePoint Embedded. We have the owner, manager, editor, and reader. And unlike SharePoint, we don't have, you cannot apply unique permission for your SharePoint Embedded. So you can just add or delete or modify your permission for the file. So in SharePoint site, we have an option to apply unique permission. We can break or roll inheritance. So in SharePoint Embedded, we don't have this. And we can apply also custom property for your container. Custom property, you can use it also for your search for the container when you use Graph API. And here, for example, I have this container. I have many custom property for this container. As you can see here, I add one custom one department, and I specify for this container the value for this department. It's finance. So you have many options for it. And also we have metadata. We can apply metadata for your container, for your SharePoint Embedded container. And we don't have a lookup field like SharePoint site. So here I have developed. Do you have any questions? Okay. So here I will show you, okay, here developer experience. So I'll keep it in the slide, but here I will show you in demo what is it, how to work with SharePoint Embedded. Here, for example, I will go to my SharePoint Admin Center, and I will open my Postman. Use my Postman. Okay. Yeah, okay. Here in my SharePoint Admin Center, so I still have file. And here, as you can see here, I have on the left, we have the container. And when I click on the container, I have many containers. So here, for example, I have SPA Boston, it's a container. For example, I will use this one. Okay. Here, as you can see, we have designer. For each user from your organization, there is a container for the image generated by your Copilot. And here I have many custom. For example, here I have Bootcamp Shania. When I click on it, I have the link to it. I have the membership who has access to this container, and also the storage for it. And here in Postman, I'll show you in Postman here. In Postman, here I have my container type ID. On the left, as you can see, I have all the query to this, all the query used by Graph API to manage SharePoint Embedded container. Here I will launch this query and I will ask, I will use Postman to simulate this query. So I'll say, search for me all the container associated to this container type ID. As you can see here, I have the result. For each container, we have the ID. And we have the name, we have the container type ID associated to it, and we have many other properties also. And here, for example, if you want to create a container, you have your Graph API call, and you need to specify display name, description, and your container type ID. For example, if you need to upload a file, we can search here how to upload. I will search for the file, and here. Files, I have upload files. Here under files, I have upload file. When I click on upload files, here we can specify the file extension. And here when you upload your file, you have the result like this. So you can use it. I have the Postman collection in the slide. You can download it and you can use it for your SharePoint, you can use SharePoint Embedded container for your developing project and everything. And here I will go to my slide because I have 5 minutes. Okay. And if you are a developer, you have to start to work with your SharePoint Embedded container. You can use your Visual Code, and the Visual Code we just will add a pointer here. Okay, and in Visual Code we can install the extension SharePoint Embedded, and once installed, we can use it to create your trial SharePoint Embedded container, and we can also use PowerShell for it. So here, when I install the Visual Code, I can create your trial container type, and what happens behind the scene, it will create your Azure application, create a container type, associate your application to your container type, and you can create container for it. And we can also export the data, the environment, the data to use it in Postman. And here in Postman, you have the link to all the queries used by Postman. And there are other tools also we can use, like Postman. And also, okay, and the conclusion here is, wait, I'll check. I still have more time, I have 3 minutes. And the conclusion, so SharePoint storage, it's because by experience, when I talk to my many customers, they think they are storing file every day to SharePoint site because they are paying license, and it's free, so it's not free, and you'll pay when you exceed this limitation. So you pay license, and it's not free. You pay for when you exceed this limitation, you pay extra. And also, like Microsoft has developed many applications with SharePoint Embedded, like Loop, like Designer, like Edge Workspace. You can also develop your application. If you are ISV, you can develop your application. You can sell it to many customers. And also, it's very important when you develop your developer, you need to study the cost for your project in terms of storage when you run the application. And here there are many useful links. You can use it, and we have also when you want to set up your SharePoint Embedded container and everything. I will share this slide, and you can check it. And also, if you want to use Ask Microsoft to test the private preview for the connector, you can scan the QR code and you can apply for it. And thank you for this presentation. For attending, and if you have any question, feel free. I'm here.